Other sports will typically shit on CrossFit for whatever reason. I don't know what's up with it, but as a CrossFitter, I rarely, if ever, hear a CrossFitter talk shit about another sport. What's up, crew? Let's talk about this guy. So originally, I recorded some video. What's up, crew? Prior, actually, it was in my car. I don't even know if I'll use the footage now that I think about it, because it was really weird, awkward angle, and I didn't know what I was trying to say. I saw it early yesterday, but I didn't watch it until later, and that's Craig's response to this person who decided to provide his opinion on CrossFit, and that's all it really is an opinion. So like I said, I didn't watch it until late. I was up last night watching Punisher. I got sucked into it because I couldn't stop watching it. So it was probably about midnight when I was scrolling through YouTube, kind of checking out my own stuff, saw Craig's response video again, and I was like very intrigued. I actually wanted to watch that video. So I went to Craig's video, clicked on the link for the actual, you know, what's wrong with CrossFit video, and watched it, and I almost could not finish it. And actually I didn't finish it, to be honest. Almost halfway through, I immediately started writing a comment which was reactionary, which is typically what I do, and I probably didn't say the right things, and then I watched Craig's, which allowed me to finish the video, because I just couldn't stand the guy. The guy was just on a pedestal. I mean, Craig even said it. He's like talking about how CrossFit's bad and how blah 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 blah. Oh, watch me do this, you know, one-handed pull-up, chin over bar. Oh, let me show you this super narrow grip muscle up because I'm such a badass. First of all, that's the first thing I'm gonna say, is if you have to make your point about your opinion by showing off with the opposite opinion, that is the douchiest way to do anything. That's basically Donald Trump to everybody who's watching his video. It's like, oh, it's amazing, it's great, it's tremendous, trust me, or talking crap about something else in the most ridiculous way. Anyways, I think that, for one, is lowering his professionalism as far as giving an opinion. And then number two, he's very subjective in everything that he's saying. He's basing it off of, you know, let's Google CrossFit's definition, which when you get that definition, that's not the definition. That is a sort of a generalized statement that he pulls up at first, you know, including all sports. That's not what CrossFit is. You don't go to a CrossFit box and, you know, practice baseball one day and then practice just gymnastics. It's a combination of things, which then he reads the actual statement that you get from the level 1, which is constantly varied functional movement performed at a high intensity. So right off the bat, he's providing a subjective opinion based on something that's just like, you know, if you Google anything and the first thing you read, if you call that gold standard, then I mean, that is kind of how America works these days. And then he goes on to talk about the sort of, you know, the way CrossFit has shifted. And now this is where I can agree with some things and I heavily disagree with a lot more things, but let's shift this conversation that we're having right now. There's a couple things I agree with, and that's CrossFit has encouraged this need to be better than the other person. And this is where it's just human nature. We all have egos, whether or not it's in check or you're just running rampant in your gym trying to, you know, inflate your scores or cheat on reps or whatever. Everyone has an ego. Everyone's level of ego is different. But the problem with that is you come in thinking you need to be able to do certain things. Like butterfly pull-ups are the most efficient way to get a lot of reps done in as short amount of time as possible. Everyone wants to do them. Or muscle-ups, doing ring muscle-ups. Those are the vanity sort of moves that you don't typically see programmed in a standard CrossFit class. He's basing one of his opinions on the idea that all gyms are the same and that they are telling everyone in the gym that in order to do a workout as fast as possible, they need to do butterfly pull-ups, when it's the other way around. Most members come in thinking, I need to do butterfly pull-ups today or else I'm not gonna be able to last, or I'm not gonna be able to compete with everybody in the gym. Because as I'm watching this as a CrossFit coach, as somebody who's worked with so many people, when he says he's worked with people, I'm assuming he's worked with professionals in the industry, people who are paying somebody specific to get them to a certain goal, like the CrossFit Games or some other competition. I've trained you know, the general population, the people who are just trying to get fitter. And I've had so many people come up to me that are like, I want to do butterfly pull-ups, I want to do kipping pull-ups, and I watch them try to do a strict pull-ups, or I watch them try to do a kipping pull-up and they're just barely getting their chin over the bar, or it's a flailing like fish out of water movement. I and many other coaches I've seen will stop them and say, look, you'll get there at some point, but today's not the day to do your kipping pull-ups with this workout. So for him to overgeneralize and say that the sport is causing this, or the sport is encouraging this, is so out of touch with the idea. So in that respect, I can agree that there is a problem that developed in that people think they need to be as progressed as possible as soon as possible, when really it takes so much time. I spent 3 years working on getting a butterfly pull-up, or you know, my first muscle up was in the second year I was doing CrossFit, not in the first year, you know, and that was my second year as a serious CrossFitter. I was in CrossFit for probably 3 years before I went on the rings. So I can agree that CrossFit has created this need to be as progressed as possible as soon as possible, but it is not CrossFit that's encouraging it. It is our own personal human nature, ego, pushing that. Because like, even for me, I'm super out of shape right now, but I have a hard time jumping on a band to do pull-ups or do jumping pull-ups or do stuff that's super digressed or modified. But I know I need to do it, otherwise I won't be walking the next day. And the only other thing that I agree that actually has merit, and I've said this before too, where the only place you typically see good movement that is judged correctly is at the CrossFit Games, and that is and regionals, super high level competition. So if you go to a weekend warrior competition, you won't see the same type of judging or the same type of standards. And that's the problem, is those are more visible typically because they're year round versus the one time a year games and regionals. I think I kind of forgot to mention what his point was. So his point was that CrossFit is the only sport where you can do a rep incorrectly or do a movement wrong and get the point for it. Now, the way Craig rebutted this is that we have standards too as a competition. And yes, that's true, but sometimes our standards are a little bit mushy, like a snatch, for example. A true snatch, if you're doing Olympic weightlifting, means that you catch the bar with straight arms and you do not press it out. In CrossFit, you can catch with soft elbows and press it out as long as you end with full extension of hips, knees, elbows, and your head is through. You get the rep. Now, I can agree that that's fine because that's the way the standard was presented, but when it gets really ugly or really dangerous and people are doing these movements and it looks bad, like CrossFit preaches virtuosity, yet in competition, judge based off virtuosity. So in that respect, I can agree, because there's countless times that I've judged a competition and wanted to no rep somebody, but then realized that it's within standards, so fine, give them the rep. Or two, watching a competition, seeing the ugliest movers I've ever seen in my life win or do really well in a workout because they finished correctly, but the start to, like in between the start and finish, was really bad, where I kind of question the efficacy of that. I don't even know if that's the right word, but it sounds right, so I'm gonna have to Google that. So I can agree in that sense, where it's like, I mean, he goes on to show, like Craig showed, the kipping push-up, which doesn't exist. People do that in the gym, and if you, let's bring it back for a second. If you go to the right gym, like Craig said, if you walk into the right gym, the gym that is doing it right, not the gym that just popped up and decided that they're CrossFit now, you know, the gym that's sipping and gulping the Kool-Aid, they will go to that person who's warming up on a push-up and say, lock out your hips, make your body like a board, a plank, touch your chest to the ground and bring it back up. The only time the knees touch the ground is if you're modifying, and even for me, I tell people no snaking, which is that coming off the ground like this and, you know, get to your knees. There's two ways to do a push-up. You either go RX or you modify and you put your knees down and you go down still, flat as a board. His examples are poor, and then he just, the tone of his video is just, it's so sad. And I'm gonna end it with this. and I might even start the video with this. The main issue that I have with his video is that there's this hilarious relationship between CrossFit and other sports. Okay, so other sports will typically shit on CrossFit for whatever reason. I don't know what's up with it, but all other sports, most other sports, I'm not gonna say all because that's generalizing, I don't wanna do that. A lot of other sports will shit on CrossFit. As a CrossFitter, I rarely, if ever, hear a CrossFitter talk shit about another sport. It's incredible that there's that relationship, that this huge group of sports versus this one that will never talk crap. But if anything, we will try every other sport immediately. If you came up to me as a bodybuilder and you're like, hey, come try this out for a week, I'd be down to do it. If a skateboarder came up to me and he's like, hey, try this for a week, I'd be like, heck yeah, where's my board? Let's do this, you know? And if you scroll through a lot of the top athletes and even non-top athletes of CrossFit, they're typically trying and doing other sports constantly because that's the way you progress and get better, not by doing strict movements only. That's the way you specialize. He's specialized in holding positions with strength. He showed a very heavy deadlift, but I'd like to see him do a really nice snatch. You know, I'd like to see him do a clean and jerk to standards for Olympic lifting, and not do it the way he showed his kipping pull-up, which was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. You know, he did it very calisthenically. I can talk some crap too about calisthenics, but I also have mad respect for the guys who train hard for that stuff, because there's no way in hell that I could hold a planche like that for any amount of time. I can bend my arms and maybe get like a little hang time of 5 seconds or less. It's just, it blows my mind that someone would do this, and not even like the fact that he has a voice. He's using his voice to negatively reflect on something else. It's incredible. When you have a voice like that, you should be doing nothing but spreading positive. He starts his video off with mad respect for, you know, people who train CrossFit, and this is nothing against them, but then he goes on to say that your sport is crap. It's incredible. I literally halfway through that video wanted to punch him in the face. He has that demeanor, that type of demeanor that's face punch worthy. Like, look at me, I'm on a pedestal, I'm better than everybody, and I know everything, and blah blah blah. It's like, urgh. So unfortunately, now I have a negative view on calisthenics. I'm just gonna say that right there. Like, because of him being the voice of that, because of his visibility, he now is the face of calisthenics for me. So I hope to see a new video of some other calisthenics people, you know, not supporting him, like talking about how CrossFit is cool, or just presenting a more positive vibe. 16 minutes, hopefully I can pare that down. If anything, I'm definitely not going to be using the other footage I recorded today. Didn't work out either today. Setting up for Thanksgiving dinner. Friends are coming over. If anything, call it a Friendsgiving, because it's not Thanksgiving today, and it's some family friends that we're just gonna sit down, have a beer, have a pumpkin pie slice, and some. I think Sarah is making super hot chicken, spicy chicken. I can't wait. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna do some of this to break up the vlogging. I don't think I'm gonna go daily just yet. And when I do go daily, I'll have this at some point in the week, maybe consistently or inconsistently, just once a week or once every, what's today? Wednesday. Wednesdays will be my sit and talks or something. And if you can think of a topic that you'd like to hear me talk about, leave it down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this video too. Did I hit it correctly? Even though I said I agree with 2 of his points, do you agree with what I said? Do you see sort of the inconsistency in movements with some people or some gyms? Do you see the potential for ego to come into play versus somebody who just wants to learn? Because I can tell you I've seen it as a coach. But that's today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to bring back this one. I'm gonna start using this one again because I actually liked it. I watched a couple old videos. If you're new, subscribe. If you're not new, hit the like button. If you'd like to leave, or if you'd like to send some positive vibes. If you'd like to send some positive vibes or file a complaint, leave a comment, and until tomorrow, I think. I'll see you later, crew.